Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, first things first, I just wanted to kind of rant about some stuff real quick. Unrelated to what I'm going to be talking about in this episode, but yeah, overall, I was supposed to record this episode last night, and I tried to record it off of my phone, but I was like, you know what, nah, bro, I'm gonna wait until my computer can come back on, and yeah, and I'll just record it like how we usually record my podcast episodes, you know, because I'm like, I ain't never posted no podcast before off of my phone, like an episode, so I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. So, but no, anyways, I'm getting ready. I'm like literally seconds away from getting ready to record this podcast episode, and my power goes out. Like, fam, I'm halfway through reading a chapter in the Bible. Like, I was at the last few lines, bro. No. Actually, I take that back. I finished reading the Bible. I set it down. I say a little prayer before I get into, streaming, recording, and all that stuff. Power goes out. And I'm like, bro, the thing is this, like, I wasn't even mad. I was just disappointed because I'm like, why out of the whole time? It could have happened earlier. It could have happened later. Like, fam, I guess, like, I'm happy at the fact that it didn't happen, like, mid recording or mid stream. But no, so the night prior before last night, power goes out for like 1.5 seconds halfway through me recording the video. And I'm like, bro, why does this stuff have to happen, like, when I'm getting ready to do something? It's like, man, and it's like, okay, and I be thinking to myself, like, okay, power comes back on, I'm gonna be streaming, recording, do all these different things. I'm like, I shouldn't have to do that. We should be living in a time and place where the power ain't going out until 2025, like how it was back in 2005. I'm just saying, to me, it trips me out. We'll have billions of dollars to send a robot to Mars, scatter the grounds and all that stuff, and I'm like, fam, it's not like we're gonna go to Mars tomorrow, but we can have some form of technology that can prevent the power from going out. Like, I'm saying, like all these years on this planet, we still, like, we got, like, oh, it's like you gotta go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get a generator. It's like, man, it's like home should have a built-in generator, like something. My thing is this: I highly doubt it, but if there was a time where I were to ever get into politics and run for president and all that stuff, if we still dealing with that, it's like, what, like 2045 or whatever or something, I'm like, nah, bro, instead of developing technology that we don't need, we gonna be developing technology that we do need, all right? And it's that's gonna be one of the things preventing the power from going out in some, like, the crazy thing was, it wasn't even that windy outside. Like, nah, fam, I'm telling you, there have been days where it has been mad windy. It's like, it seemed like that it like one little gust of wind and then the power had went out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but it was a little frustrating. So as it just kind of built up and stuff. So, but anyways, that's what I should be doing. I should be charging up my stuff, because I'm like, I don't know what the future holds for us, but I'm gonna charge up my Nintendo Switch, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on and stuff. But anyways, no, so that's what I wanted to talk on. I wanted to talk on this Nina Lynn, Zoe Spencer, and I think the guy's name is Saeed, but it spells out Said. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if his name is Said or if it's Saeed. Like, Said might be his content creating name, or if it is his, like, government name. And then I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'm gonna say Saeed. It just, because I think, I don't know, like, I don't know. I should have maybe went and seen how his name is pronounced before I had did this podcast episode, but I was like, nah, let me just, because I have what I wanted to say, and I ain't trying to forget it, and I'm like, I've been holding on to this for almost 24 hours, so I'm going to say what I need to say, and I'm going to go on about my business, alright? But no, I did want to add my 2 cents to the matter, because, so for those that don't know what's going on, so Zoe Spencer and Saeed was, because I'm going based off of what I've seen in the clip. So anyways, Saeed is trying to run away from Zoe Spencer. Zoe Spencer got him cornered. Eventually, at some point in time, Nina Lynn, she comes into the screen, and then she's holding Saeed, and then, for some reason, Zoe Spencer just starts working on them. And I wanted to just talk to, like, all 3 people in the matter. But I mean, yeah, there was 4 people because there was like I think he was the content because Saeed, I believe, is the cameraman, and then but he was the like content creator. He's the cameraman. Ford was like kind of in the middle of it all and stuff. I ain't really got nothing to say about him, but I guess like maybe to just say something very quickly towards him. If you see that your cameraman is like, or if you know that your cameraman doesn't handle situations like this too well, it's probably best to step in, to eliminate, I guess, you from getting like put in a situation where people are looking at you and be like, hey, how come you didn't stand up for him or say anything or do anything, So yeah, I think it's just best, like, like people. One thing for sure is that people got to just respect other people's boundaries, and I feel like that's definitely something that Nina Lynn and Zoe Spencer, what they need to be thinking about, especially Zoe Spencer, because I mean, it's just one too many times where it seems like every clip I done seen her in, like, it's always her invading a person's space, and it's like, fam, you have to relax. It's like, there's going to be times where there's people, and I think that's another thing is that people think that, like, oh, whatever friendship I have with other people, others have to also participate or be involved in that. No, fam. Like, whatever your friendship is with that person, that's you and that person. That doesn't mean that I want to be involved or be on that same level and all that. If it builds up to it, then it's like, okay, cool. But if not, and I'm comfortable with where I'm at, then it's like, you have to respect that. And that's the thing with Zoe Spencer. She don't respect that. And it's like, fam, it's something where I'm like, she just got to work on her, boundary. Like, she definitely got like a boundary issue. I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, fam, you got to work on that. You got to do better. So, but anyways, but yeah, she starts twerking on the cameraman. And and it's like, the thing is this, and then that's what I wanted to say about him is that, it's nothing disrespectful, but it's just overall to prevent something like this from happening again, because I feel like after this, yeah, it's gonna definitely be a thing where people are gonna be like, nah, like, I'm gonna respect my boundaries, because obviously you don't like that type of stuff. But just in case if it's something else where it could be verbal or another form of, like, physical contact and all that stuff, you gotta speak up for yourself, because if there's somebody that's doing something or saying something that's making me uncomfortable, I'm gonna let them know and be like, hey, you gotta chill on that. If they don't, then I'm leaving. And I'm like, get your hands off me, don't touch me. I'm letting you know verbally, you need to leave me alone. All right. And then the thing is this, I know people probably ask, like, well, what would you do if they still continue? Then that's why I'm gonna go ahead. I'm like, okay, you can see in the clip, I'm telling them to leave me alone. I'm being dead serious. I'm not smiling, laughing, or any of that stuff. And I think that's another thing too, because he was kind of like laughing and smiling in the clip. So I think that's why it went on for as long as it did. But if he would have been serious and been like, hey, stop, like, get off me, leave me alone and things, I feel like that maybe, just maybe, they would have backed off. But yeah, it's I just overall felt like that was something to say to him, is that you gotta speak up for yourself. You can't just let people just get a hold of you like that. And then I think that was something that Nina Lynn, I don't know if it was about that situation or another situation, but she was saying, like, it's embarrassing for a man to get SA, if you guys know what that stands for. But I'm like, fam, no, it is not. I'm like, that stuff is real. I done heard stories about that before. Yeah, it doesn't get looked at the same way as a man doing it to a woman. And it's like, that's what you got to think about too. Like, let's say it's a dude that comes up onto you guys and is like invading your guys' personal space. Like, that's going to make you uncomfortable, So it's like, it trips me out where it's like, you have that just that view on that type of stuff. And it's like, fam, it happens, like, it ain't something where it's like, oh, a man, he can, fight. And it's like, my thing is this, it's like, okay, if I push you, if I do something where it's gonna get physical, then it's like people are gonna look at me as the bad guy. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, if somebody doesn't want to be bothered, you have to understand that, you have to accept that. But yeah, I was like, man, that whole situation, I just think that it definitely could have been handled differently on all parties, where Zoe Spencer and Nina Lynn, they got to respect people's boundaries, because they know if some guy did that to them, girl, whoever, and it's somebody that they ain't cool with like that, then it's like, yeah, you gonna feel a certain way. And then talking to the cameraman, I'm like, yeah, you gotta speak up for yourself, because yeah, it's like there are gonna be people that's gonna try to attempt that with you and things. They gonna, whether it's that or even if it's just some other stuff, like like somebody trying to walk all over you and things, like they feel like they can say disrespectful things or do disrespectful things, and they're just like, oh, I'm not gonna say nothing. No, I am. Like, that's one thing that I've learned throughout the years, is that speaking, because before, when I was younger, I was an action kid. You know, somebody say something or do something, I put hands on them. And I could think back on some moments when I was in school, and I'm like, dang, bro, I guess I could have handled it differently. But at the same time, I'm like, but no, that was like my earlier days, like elementary and stuff like that. But no, overall though, it's like as I got older though, I was like, okay, you know, let me use my words, because I'm like, okay, I know I'm not going to get suspended or expelled or detention and all that stuff. I'm gonna use my words. And fam, it's one of those things where I'm like, there was a lot of different situations where I use my words, and I'm like, and it worked out in my favor, you know, with teachers, students, whether it was the internet, customers at my old job, coworkers, all that stuff. It's one of those things where it's like, if you feel uncomfortable with something, speak up. And just even using my old job as an example. So there was a time where they, for some reason, didn't want to hire a third person. So because there was 3 different locations. The one location only required 1 person. Another location required 2 people. And then our location required 3 people. They went on for months, for some reason, not hiring the third person. And they gave us like very little help. And then there was at a point in time where it was a friend of mine's that had worked there. He went, I don't know if it was I remember there was 2 trips that he took. It was one trip to, I think it was like a beach house out here in Washington. And then there was another trip where he went on tour in California. And I can't remember which one it was, but I just remember he was gone for a long period of time. And so there was at a point where they had it where I was just pretty much out there working on my own. So I'm like, big old giant line, I got to handle that line. Customer dropped something on the ground, I gotta clean that up. Customers making a mess over at the salad bar, the deli area, wherever, I gotta clean that up. You know, so there was a lot of the times where I'm doing my job, another person's job, and then the third person's job, and the bare minimum that they do is, oh, let me sweep up a little bit. No, like, help me bring some stuff out. Gotta go and, like, you want me to go over to another location and collect some things? It's like, go do that for me and stuff. This is a 3-person location. I'm not 3 people. I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, fam, I don't even give off the vibe of where I got like split personalities. Either way, we all got the same body and stuff. So, but no, anyways, I remember there was one particular day where I just had enough. I was like, look, I can't do this no more. I can't take it. I went up to the one manager that I was cool with, and I'm like, hey, we're going to have a meeting after work. So I'm like, you know, do what you got to do. Let everybody know, do what they got to do. But after work, we got to have a meeting. All right, because this particular situation can't go on no longer. So anyways, we have the meeting. Everybody's sitting down. Managers, they say what they want to say. My friend Jack, he says, because he was the supervisor, he says what he has to say. And then it got down to me. And I'm like, look, all I want to know is, when are we going to hire a third person for this location? Because I'm like, you guys got me doing like 2 jobs. And then it's like, you guys where he's doing 2 jobs. That's too much on us. So I'm like, you guys going to need to hire a third person. Otherwise, you're going to have to be hiring 2 more people. And I'm like, fam, I'm not trying to have it where it's like I lose this job, because it's like you guys just want to be like, oh, well, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that, we just want to put everything on you. And it's like, nah, fam, the crazy thing about it, it's not even like the money is coming out their pocket on like paying, like, you're the manager. So it's like, put out a job application. You ain't gonna try to convince me that, oh, people ain't looking for a job. I'm like, fam, you could go out in the street and ask a homeless person to work with us. Give them an application, give them a uniform, do whatever it is that you got to do. But I'm like, people are looking for a job, bro. I ain't hearing that, you know? So I'm like, are you guys putting out the application out there to let people know? Because I'm like, if I'm not getting paid more, but I'm doing more of work, what sense does that make? You know? So all I had said was that, look, if y'all ain't trying to hire a third person, you're going to have to hire 2 more people. Because I'm like, I'll quit and go find me another job where I'm taken care of a little bit better and stuff. So they seen how serious I was, and that was the thing. And I know people are gonna probably be thinking along the lines like, you didn't say all that, you didn't do all that, fam. I showed up early, I left late. I was doing 3 people jobs at a point in time. I was probably one of the best employees that they had. When you have an employee that's doing cashier work, helping the cooks and the chefs, and then on top of that, when you have it where there's a dishwasher that's either going to show up, not show up, whatever the case may be, and I'm doing dishwashing work, and then I'm helping out managers with whatever they got going on. Yeah, when I feel like that I'm doing a lot of work like that, and then yeah, it's like staying up like around the clock and things, yeah, bro, you ain't gonna convince me otherwise that it's like I didn't have no pull like that to where I can, make some sort of, I wouldn't really say it was the demand, but I would say that it's like in a version, in a way, it did kind of sound like a demand. But I'm like, fam, I'm just trying to have it where it's like there's fair treatment going on here, because let it be the other way around. It's like, yeah, y'all gonna try to find another manager because you don't want to do too much work. But us, on the other hand, it's like if you ain't helping us, then it's like what am I doing here? So anyways, but yeah, shortly after that, no, it was funny because I remember they called in an interview for another friend, and it was funny because it was like, at the time being, it's like, you just seeing her and stuff, and it's like, okay, let's just see how this goes, and it's like hopefully it goes good. Ended up being cool with that individual that they hired. And then eventually it was like, and it was crazy because like when they hired them, I had to take me a little vacation. I was like, I went to Disneyland with my family, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I gotta dip for for a couple of days because I'm tired, bro. I need a little trip. I need some entertainment, running through my system and stuff. So, but yeah, man, I was like, and that was the thing. I spoke up for myself, and I feel like if I hadn't spoke up for myself, I'm like, because the place, it ended up closing on like it was like, I think it was March because of COVID. We still probably wouldn't have had no third cashier. And so eventually, because she had worked there for maybe like roughly a year, and then eventually she ended up finding a better job. And then, but no, they didn't take no long period of time. I remember when she had left, I looked over at Jack, and I was like, hopefully they don't be taking forever trying to hire a third person. I think they must have remembered what I said the last time around. They was like, and that at that time, they didn't know that COVID was going to be so serious. But yeah, they ended up hiring a cashier, and just for her to like, maybe like 3-4 months later, it's like, because I think Melissa, that was the other cashier, she had left. I think it was December. I had to ask her again, but anyways, but yeah, she left shortly before like COVID and all that stuff, and then we ended up hiring another cashier. Then we ended up closing down due to COVID and stuff. But yeah, they probably still if like, let's say COVID would have never happened and I still would have been working at this place, it still would have been me and Jack. It probably would have took one of us just out of nowhere just quitting and stuff to like, oh, okay, well, maybe just maybe we should hire 3 people and stuff. I'm like, nah, bro, y'all should have been done did that. And so yeah, man, but no, that's one thing for sure, though. It's like, you gotta speak up for yourself and let people know. It's like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this situation. Something gotta change. Something gotta happen, So, but anyways, yeah, I just think that with that particular situation, though, with the cameraman, Saeed, Nina Lynn, Zoe Spencer, it definitely could have been handled differently, more so on Nina Lynn and Zoe Spencer's part. It's like, you gotta respect people's personal boundaries and stuff and not downplay what's happening to somebody just because they're a man, And then, talking to the cameraman, Saeed, it's like, yeah, bro, it's like, speak up for yourself. Just in case of something like this, something similar or something in a sense like this happens again, where it's like, you have to speak up for yourself, do it. Like, what could possibly go wrong for you speaking up for yourself? Nothing. So, anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.